What's up guys, Marty the teambeige here, and today we're back with another video, and today I'm bringing you guys my Unchained Labrynth deck profile post Phantom Nightmare. So, as you all know, Phantom Nightmare came out this past weekend, official tournament release is this week, and I got to bring Labrynth on Sunday to the locals I did for the sneak peek. If you all saw the video for the sneak peek vlog, it did not perform well. But that was like completely a pilot thing. It was my fault. I ended up dropping, but I think the deck itself, I think, is really good. I think I just played objectively very poorly in the end. And so I wanted to bring you guys sort of my thoughts towards the Unchained Labrynth deck, moving into this upcoming format. I think these cards are very good, but I think this deck has to do a lot to be able to keep up with some of the things kind of going around right now. And it needs some like pretty extreme measures to do so. But I think this deck is still fun. I really enjoy it. I know I'm going to be playing it occasionally between this and the Fire King deck as well, which, by the way, I will be having a profile for you guys of my own personal list later this week, so make sure to be on the lookout for that, as well as any other lists that we may release from Team Beige. But yeah, so let's get right into it. This list is, like, I'd say pretty standard to the probably most Unchained Lab lists and kind of the list I posted a couple weeks ago. But we have 3 Ariana. Like, I'm not even gonna like talk about any of their effects because they're all just, you all know them at this point. 3 Ariana, 3 Chandragleer, 3 Stovey Torby. I am playing 2 Kuklok in this version, 2 Lady, 1 Lovely, and 1 Arias. So the main deck was kind of tight. I wanted to keep it to 40. The one thing I think that changed from my last profile was I had 3 Clock, and then I think I still played a copy of Arias. But yeah, there's just like, this is the ratios I think I'm currently at right now. There's, like I said, there's just so little room in this deck, and still trying to figure it out. Also with the new edition coming from Phantom Nightmare, which we'll get to later. 3 Big Welcome, 3 Welcome Labrynth, and 1 Labrynth for the rest of our engine. Labrynth is really frustrating, but I think it's kind of necessary. Just like, it helps in your grind game, and also being able to just act as removal versus back row decks, I think is pretty good. So it's, you know, we do what we can. And then I'm playing the 1 Shavara and 1 Escape. My biggest problem on Sunday was drawing Escape a lot. And usually, like, when I was thinking about this engine, I was like, oh, like, I'm not worried about this bricking, but it really did cause bricks. And so I think, like, one of the things that I personally want to optimize at probably in the near future is, like, how can I make this a bit more consistent while feeling good going second? And I think the Unchained cards are really good in the extra deck. Escape is a good card when it works, and Shavara is pretty nice for dodging things. But like, I know last weekend or last Thursday at locals before Phantom Nightmare came out, I tried doing a play where it was furniture, pitch, transaction, rollback, set Big Welcome, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna Shavara pop the Big Welcome so that way I can copy the big and then get the bounce. And I just remember getting cosmic, and I was like, oh, this really stinks, because I like opened my hand, it was like Shavara and Escape and plus furniture and then rollback. And so I was like, oh, this stinks. But, you know, I think these cards are good. And I think with the Fire King deck going around, I think you need the Unchained cards to act as another form of layered interactions. 3 transaction rollback, pretty self-explanatory. I think this card's really good. I like think it's a must at 3, honestly. It's like such a good pitch off of furniture. And never once did I like drew it and it was the brick as the problem, which was kind of nice. And then the new addition is the 2 Black Goat Laughs. So this card is crazy. If you guys don't know what it does, its activated effect is declare a monster name, and then this turn, neither player can special summon monsters with the same original name except from the graveyard. And then you can banish this card from the graveyard, then declare 1 monster card name. This turn, neither player can activate the effects of monsters on the field with the original name. And you can only use 1 effect per turn, but you can copy the second effect of the rollback using both. It's a really good card. It's really good to pitch off furniture. I messed up how it worked in my like first round of locals, and I declared a monster that could only be summoned from the graveyard. So, like I said, I think this deck's good. I don't think I am. Anyways, 3 Pot of Extravagance. Extrav is just kind of a staple, I think, in Labrynth. The Extrav and Prosperity was something I was like messing with. Maybe if I'm gonna cut anything, like we could try try 1 Prosperity over Labrynth. But otherwise that may end up just being a clue clock. I don't know yet. So that's it for like the main engine. I think Blackout Laughs is really good. I might try and consider it at 3 once I get another copy. And I'll let you guys know what I think of it. I'm talking about the deck a lot in the Beige Discord, and I think some people are getting sick of it, but we also have a good amount of lab players in there. For our hand traps, we are playing 3 Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. This card is good, but you have to be really careful when you use it, like especially against any deck that makes Hita, because it can go into the Promethean Princess, which is such a strong card. 3 Droll and Lockbird. This is one of the most high impact hand traps right now. It is so important against Fire King and Rescue Ace and like just a lot. Voiceless Voice. Just so many decks lose to Droll and Lockbird except Labrynth. One thing to be wary of with Droll and Lockbird is that the Fire King deck can, if they have the right cards, they can still do the Zelantis combo through Droll. I was actually testing with the real Dom in the Discord the other night on the Fire King deck, and I was able to do exactly that, so it was kind of crazy what they can do. But yeah, Droll is really good. I like it over Nib personally in the main deck. And then 3 Infinite Impermanence, just because it's a normal trap and it's pretty decent for our engine. So that's it for the main deck. 40 cards, pretty standard. We'll breeze through the extra deck just because I think it's like pretty standard as far as Unchained Lab goes. 2 Chaos Angel, 2 Typhon, 3 Yama. Yama is really good just to act as that follow-up and bridge into the Unchained engine, since you usually have a lot of bodies. 3 Rage. I bumped up to 3 for my personal 2, just like to see it more off Extrav. It never really was like a big problem, but you know, I was like, I'm pretty good with this at 3 now. 1 Anguish. I like Anguish a lot because you can do plays where like you rage, or you go escape, pop, rage, and something your opponent controls, reborn, and then summon the rage back, and then you rage link into Anguish, and then if you have rollback engrave, you can pop the Anguish and another thing, so you get 2 add backs, which is really nice. And Anguish is a great board breaker against Fire King and just a bunch of other decks. 1 Abomination. He helps break boards. The destruction is like deceptively good, I think, especially against the mirror. But you do need this, I think. 1 SP Little Knight. I ended up bumping it down to 1 just because of we had less space, and I was like, you know what? I'm like, sometimes it's fine to go into Anguish off extra, but I think that SP is still really good. 1 Dark. I personally like fitting in the Dark in the extra deck. If I wasn't playing Dark, it probably would be the 2nd SP. And then the 1 Muckraker. Muckraker, like it, I think is really good. But there's a lot of ways you can get your Labyrinths out of the graveyard, whether the form of Yama, Rage, Anguish, Muckraker, Big. So I think it's okay being at 1, honestly. Up next, I will show you guys the side deck. It's very experimental. I haven't thought it out too much as far as lab goes, but these I'll just share you guys with some of my thoughts as far as what I may side in lab. This is probably going to change once I take this to another tournament. 3 Nibiru. Nibiru is like really good against the combo decks, and it's like against Fire King. It's good to have that blowout, but usually sometimes when you want to Nibiru, they already have the Flamberge up, and so they can get the follow-up once you nib, and so they can use the token and 2 bodies that they summon a Flamberge into IP and then Promethean, or they already have the Promethean, and so you're like, why am I nibbing? But I think this card is still really good to have in the side deck at the very least. 3 Phantasme. So this card is good for the mirror, specifically I think the Unchained mirror, Rescue Ace, and up against Fire King because you can negate the Promethean Princess, which is really good. And Phantasme also just fixes hands. When I was playing with Phantasme last Thursday, he really like came up when I was playing against Snake Eye Fire King. I didn't end up getting the match just because I think it was just unlucky draws. I put back a Lovely, shuffled, and then drew exactly like Lovely for turn after the Phantasme draws, which was unfortunate. And my opponent just had more gas, but I think Phantasme is still really strong, definitely something to consider. Two Bestials, Druid's Word and Magnamut for the mirror. These are just have always been good in Lab, just as bodies you can bounce to your hand with Big Welcome, and also Sync for Chaos Angel. And I think they're pretty okay. 3 Ghost Bell and Haunted Mansion. This card's really good for the mirror. And Fire King. Just kind of self-explanatory, I think. 2 Shufflers, Keldor and Midora. These sort of act as like extra hand traps against some of the like Fire King or the mirror. Like usually against Fire King, I think the move is you side in the 3 Bell and the 2 Keldor and Midora over like your Extravs, your Escape, and your Labrynth. And then versus the mirror, probably like 3 Drolls, Escape, and like probably there could be an argument to side out Imperms as I'm like looking at them right now, maybe just because, you know, they're gonna either bounce something or just trigger the lady, but I think you'd still find it's probably something to mess with. And then I'm playing 1 Called by the Grave just kind of as our going first thing. I think it's like pretty fine. You can do like 1 Called by and the 2 Keldor and Midora just to act as discards off your furniture, and then this as being your insulation protection. I think this card's really also good going second into a lot of decks right now. And then the one, like when I was talking about at the beginning at like a blowout, we are playing the 1 DDG, Different Dimension Ground. This card's just really good against the Fire King deck. They really crumble up against Shifter. It hurts against the mirror a little bit, but you have to use it kind of well. And I think this also hits Voiceless Voice pretty well. But otherwise, pretty good. We usually want to kind of keep our like going first siding pattern a little small. I'm not trying the crossouts in this build. I like tried them for the locals I did last Thursday, before Phantom Nightmare, and for the Phantom Nightmare tournament with Bell as like one of my targets, and it was like okay. It was kind of underwhelming. I'm trying it in a different deck right now and seeing how I feel about it, but otherwise I think like all these hand traps are overall really, really good. So yeah, guys, that is the deck profile. Let me know down below what you think. Again, I'm always down to hear your thoughts and your suggestions. Like I said, I'm probably going to be testing this a bit more, maybe doing another living locally this week, so that way you'll get to see my thoughts on this deck, or if I decide to play another deck. But anyways, guys, hit that like button, subscribe to Team Beige, and I'm Marty, and I'll see y'all later. Peace.